She's a corporate lawyer, makes $200,000 a year, drives a BMW, owns her own condo in a city where most people can barely afford rent. She's beautiful, intelligent, articulate, has her life completely together. Friends admire her, family is proud. On paper, she's what every man should want. So why is she dating a 38-year-old musician who hasn't had a steady job in 5 years, lives in a studio apartment his ex-girlfriend still pays half the rent on, and treats her like an option between his other projects? Her friends ask, gently at first, "What do you see in him?" Then more directly, "He's using you." Her mother stages an intervention. "You deserve better than this." Her therapist suggests she examine her patterns, and she defends him every single time. "You don't understand him like I do. He's been through so much. He just needs someone to believe in him. He has so much potential. He's just waiting for the right opportunity. He's different when we're alone. He's working on himself." You've seen this. Maybe you've been this, on either side of the equation. The paradox is everywhere once you start looking for it. High-achieving women consistently, repeatedly, almost compulsively choosing low-value men. Doctors dating drug dealers. CEOs dating unemployed artists. Engineers dating bartenders with gambling addictions. The pattern is so common it's become a cliché, and yet nobody can explain it. Let me tell you about Dr. Sarah Mitchell, neurosurgeon, 34 years old, published researcher, literally saves lives for a living. She dated a personal trainer named Derek for 3 years. Derek had been between gyms for most of their relationship. Sarah paid his rent, bought his groceries, covered his car payment when he forgot. Listened to him talk about his dreams of opening his own gym while he spent his afternoons playing video games and texting other women. When Sarah's friends confronted her, she had an explanation for everything. He's been hurt before. His ex took everything from him. He just needs time to trust again. Once he gets back on his feet, he's going to be amazing. I can see who he really is. 3 years. She invested 3 years of emotional energy, tens of thousands of dollars, and her reputation, because her family stopped inviting Derek to events, which meant she stopped going too. And here's the part that's going to break your brain, brother. This wasn't low self-esteem. This wasn't daddy issues, in the simplified way pop psychology explains it. This wasn't her being naive or stupid or weak. This was primal biological programming colliding with modern circumstances in the most destructive way possible. What I'm about to tell you isn't dating advice. This is the neurological mechanism behind one of the most baffling patterns in modern relationships. This is why female empowerment and success don't eliminate attraction to broken men. They intensify it. This is the savior complex, the father wound, and the chemical addiction to dysfunction that destroys brilliant women from the inside out. And once you see it, you'll never look at strong, independent women the same way again. Let's talk about what's actually hardwired into female neurobiology. Not what society tells us, not what feminist theory claims. What's actually programmed into the female brain over hundreds of thousands of years of evolution. Women evolved to be caregivers. This isn't a social construct, this is biological reality. The maternal instinct, the drive to nurture, protect, heal, and fix, is as fundamental to female psychology as sexual drive is to male psychology. In the ancestral environment, women who possessed strong caregiving instincts had children who survived. Women who could fix struggling males secured providers and protectors. This programming runs deep. It's not something you can socialize away with education or empower away with career success. Here's the neurological mechanism most people don't understand. When a woman engages in caregiving behavior, when she helps, rescues, fixes, or nurtures, her brain releases a powerful cocktail of oxytocin and dopamine. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, the same chemical that floods her system when she breastfeeds an infant, when she holds someone she loves, when she experiences deep trust and connection. Dopamine, the reward chemical, the molecule of more. The same neurotransmitter that fires when you win money, achieve a goal, or take a hit of cocaine. Now here's where it gets insidious, my friend. Her brain cannot distinguish between the oxytocin dopamine release from loving someone and the oxytocin dopamine release from fixing someone. The chemicals are identical. The neural pathways are the same. Her subjective experience is, this feels like love. But it's not love. It's an addiction to the rescue. Think about what this means in practical terms. Every time she solves his problem, pays his bill, gives him emotional support during his latest crisis, talks him through his breakthrough, or rescues him from the consequences of his own dysfunction, her brain gets a hit. Oxytocin bonds her to him. Dopamine tells her, this is good, do it again. The cycle reinforces itself. And here's the truly cruel part. The more broken he is, the more opportunities she has to get her chemical fix. A stable, successful, emotionally available man doesn't need rescuing. He doesn't trigger this mechanism. To her neurochemistry, he's boring. There's no crisis to solve, no wound to heal, no potential to unlock. The broken man? He's a dopamine goldmine. Let me give you another example. Amanda, investment banker, 31, MBA from Wharton. She dated James for 4 years. James was a writer. In 4 years, he completed half of a novel. He was clinically depressed, diagnosed, medicated, in therapy. Amanda supported all of it, financially, emotionally. She'd come home from 14-hour days managing million-dollar portfolios and spend 2 hours listening to James talk about his childhood trauma and how his parents never believed in him. Every therapy breakthrough, every chapter he completed, every day he got out of bed before noon, Amanda's brain flooded with dopamine. Progress. It's working. He's getting better because of me. But he never actually got better. The depression had good weeks and bad months. The novel stayed half finished. The job applications went nowhere. And Amanda stayed, because her brain was addicted to the neurochemical hit of trying to save him. Now let's talk about the father wound, because this is where evolutionary programming meets childhood trauma, and the result is a woman who will destroy her own life trying to fix men who can't be fixed. Every woman's first relationship with a man is her father. That relationship creates a template, a blueprint, an unconscious model for what love feels like. If her father was emotionally available, present, affirming, she'll unconsciously seek those qualities in adult relationships. If her father was distant, critical, withholding, emotionally unavailable, guess what pattern she's going to repeat? Here's the psychological mechanism. On a subconscious level, she's trying to resolve the original wound. If she can get this emotionally unavailable man to choose her, validate her, love her, she retroactively fixes her relationship with her father. She's not dating him. She's dating the unresolved childhood trauma. And the more successful and capable she becomes, the more resources she has to fund this unconscious mission. Let me break down how the savior complex actually operates in high-value women, because once you understand the mechanism, you'll see it everywhere. Stage 1, the identification phase. She meets a man with potential. This is code for currently failing at life, but has some quality she can romanticize. Maybe he's artistic, which means unemployed but owns a guitar. Maybe he's deep, which means he has untreated mental health issues he's reframed as philosophical insight. Maybe he's misunderstood, which means everyone else in his life has figured out he's a parasite, but she hasn't yet. Here's what triggers her fixing instinct. Dark triad traits: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy, in clinical terms. In practical terms, he's self-absorbed, manipulative, and emotionally unavailable. And every single one of these traits lights up her savior complex like a Christmas tree. Narcissism creates constant need for validation that she can provide. He just needs someone to see his brilliance. Machiavellianism creates manipulation she can see through and protect him from his own defense mechanisms. Psychopathy creates emotional unavailability she interprets as wounds she can heal. To a healthy woman, these are red flags. To a woman with an active savior complex, these are project opportunities. Stage 2, the investment phase. This is where she starts providing emotional support, financial assistance, career help, housing, transportation, connections. Every resource she has gets deployed in service of helping him reach his potential. And every single rescue mission triggers the dopamine-oxytocin cocktail. She pays his overdue phone bill, dopamine hit. She talks him through a panic attack at 2 a.m, oxytocin bond strengthens. She uses her connections to get him a job interview, dopamine plus oxytocin surge. I'm making a difference. He needs me. This is love. The more she invests, the more she needs him to succeed. Because if he doesn't, if all her investment was for nothing, what does that say about her judgment, her worth, her capacity to love? Sunk cost fallacy meets neurochemical addiction. She's trapped. Let me tell you about Rachel, software engineer at Google, 36, makes $350,000 a year, stock options, full benefits, the works. She dated Marcus for 5 years. Marcus was an entrepreneur. He had 7 different startup ideas during their relationship. None got past the business plan phase. He lived in Rachel's house, drove Rachel's car, used Rachel's credit cards. Rachel's friends staged multiple interventions. He's using you. He contributes nothing. He doesn't even do basic household chores while you're working 50-hour weeks. Rachel's response? You don't see what I see. He has vision. He's brilliant. He just hasn't found the right opportunity yet. When his app launches, he's going to change everything. I believe in him. 5 years. The app never launched. Actually, 7 different apps never launched. But every time Marcus had a breakthrough, completed a mock-up, had a meeting with a potential investor, rewrote the business plan, Rachel's brain got its fix. See? Progress. He's growing. My investment is paying off. Stage 3. The justification phase. This is where her entire identity becomes wrapped up in defending her choice. Every criticism from friends becomes, they don't understand him. Every family intervention becomes, they're too conventional to see his genius. Every therapist's concern becomes, they haven't spent enough time with him to see who he really is. She isolates, not deliberately, but defending him is exhausting. Easier to just stop seeing the friends who question him, stop attending family events where she has to explain why he's still between opportunities, stop talking to people who can see clearly what she can't. And the isolation increases her investment, because now he's not just her project, he's the only person left in her life. The justification vocabulary is predictable. Listen for these phrases. He's been through so much. Translation: his dysfunction is excused by past trauma. He just needs someone to believe in him. Translation: everyone else has figured out he's hopeless, but I'm special. I can see the good in him that others can't. Translation: I'm addicted to the neurochemical reward of rescuing him. Once he gets through this rough patch. Translation: I've been saying this for 3 years and the rough patch never ends. The chemical confusion. Here's what makes this so destructive. Her brain has associated the stress of his chaos with the reward of fixing him. Intermittent reinforcement, the same pattern that makes slot machines addictive, is happening here. Sometimes her help works. He gets a job, stays sober for 2 weeks, goes to therapy for a month, has a good day. Let's talk about the observable patterns, the warning signs that a high-value woman has activated her savior complex and is spiraling into dysfunction. Warning sign 1, the competence imbalance. She handles everything: bills, planning, emotional labor, logistics, problem-solving, household management, career planning, his and hers. He contributes minimally or destructively, and she frames this as, he's going through a lot right now, or he needs support to get back on his feet. But right now has been 3 years, and get back on his feet presumes he was ever standing in the first place. Warning sign 2, the potential narrative. Every conversation about him includes future tense. He's working on, he's going to, once he finishes, when he gets, after he completes. His current reality, unemployed, unmotivated, emotionally unavailable, possibly unfaithful, is never discussed. Only his theoretical future self is relevant. She's not dating who he is. She's dating who she's convinced he could be, if only she loves him hard enough. Warning sign 3. The isolation acceleration. Her social circle shrinks. Friends who expressed concern are phased out. Family who questioned her judgment are kept at arm's length. She only maintains relationships with people who either enable the dysfunction or haven't met him yet. This serves two purposes. It reduces the cognitive dissonance of defending her choice, and it increases her dependency on him as her sole source of social connection. Warning sign 4. The success sabotage pattern. Despite her resources, her help, her connections, her emotional support, he never actually improves. Every breakthrough is followed by a setback. Every step forward is followed by 2 steps back. The pattern is consistent: crisis to rescue, to temporary improvement, to bigger crisis. And here's the crucial part. This pattern is necessary for her addiction to continue. If he actually got better, became successful, emotionally available, stable, she'd have nothing to fix. The neurochemical reward cycle would end. On a subconscious level, she needs him to stay broken. Warning sign 5. The identity fusion. Her sense of self becomes inseparable from the project of fixing him. Ask her about her accomplishments, she'll talk about his progress. Ask her about her goals, she'll talk about supporting his dreams. Ask her about her needs, she'll reframe them as what he needs from her. She's lost herself in the mission of saving him, and the thought of leaving, of admitting that mission has failed, is more terrifying than staying in dysfunction. Because if she can't save him, what does that say about her? If she abandons him now, doesn't that prove she never really loved him? Doesn't that make her the bad guy? The psychological trap is complete. She's now more afraid of her own judgment of herself for leaving than she is of the slow destruction of staying. Now let's talk about how society enables this pattern. How modern culture has created the perfect environment for high-value women to destroy themselves on broken men. The feminist mythology. We're told, female empowerment means better relationship choices. Economic independence means freedom from toxic relationships. Education and career success translate to emotional intelligence and healthy partner selection. The reality? The exact opposite. Female empowerment doesn't eliminate the savior complex, it funds it. Her 6-figure salary becomes his safety net. Her emotional maturity becomes his rehabilitation program. Her social capital becomes his career launcher. Her independence means she doesn't need him for survival, which means she can afford to date pure downside with no upside. Modern feminism has sold women a lie, that success and independence make you immune to biological programming, that you can educate away hundreds of thousands of years of evolutionary drives, that career achievement somehow rewires your neurochemistry. It doesn't. It just gives you more resources to fund your dysfunction. The strong, independent woman weaponization. Society celebrates her strength. She's so successful. She has it all together. She doesn't need a man, and then uses that strength against her. She's strong enough to handle his issues. She can support him through this. Her success means she can afford to be patient while he finds himself. Her competence becomes the justification for his incompetence. Her strength becomes the excuse for his weakness. And she internalizes this. I'm strong enough to fix him. Weaker women couldn't do what I'm doing. Pride becomes another chain keeping her trapped. The therapy industrial complex. Here's where it gets really insidious. She goes to therapy because she's self-aware enough to know something's wrong. And what does her therapist tell her? Work on your boundaries. Examine your codependency. Explore your self-worth issues. All of which keeps her focused on herself as the problem, on fixing herself, on becoming better equipped to manage his dysfunction. The therapist never says, "You're neurochemically addicted to rescuing him. Your brain can't tell the difference between fixing and loving. You need to go no contact immediately and address the father wound before you destroy yourself." No, because that would be too direct, too judgmental, not trauma-informed enough. So instead, therapy becomes another tool she uses to stay in the relationship longer. I'm working on my codependency patterns while supporting him through his journey. Translation? I found a sophisticated vocabulary to justify my addiction. The romance industrial complex. Every movie, every novel, every song reinforces the same narrative. Love means sacrifice. Love means seeing potential others can't see. Love means staying when others would leave. The broken man redeemed by the good woman's love is our culture's favourite fairy tale. And high-value women have been consuming this narrative since childhood. It's baked into their psychological framework. The saviour complex isn't a bug. It's a feature the culture has been installing since they were 6 years old watching Beauty and the Beast. Belle doesn't fall in love with the prince. She falls in love with the beast and the project of fixing him. That's the model. That's what every little girl learns love looks like. Is it any wonder successful women repeat the pattern? Let's talk about what happens when the pattern runs its course. Because it always does. The only question is how much damage accumulates before the end. Scenario 1. The slow realization. Years have passed. She's invested everything. Money, time, emotional energy, social capital, career opportunities she turned down because they'd require relocation, and he needs stability right now. And he hasn't changed. If anything, he's regressed. The excuses have been exhausted. Once he finishes therapy, he quit after 6 sessions. Once he gets this job, he got fired within 3 months. Once he processes his trauma, he's been processing for 4 years with 0 progress. The cognitive dissonance becomes unsustainable. She starts seeing clearly. The man she's been dating, the potential, the theoretical future self, doesn't exist. Never existed. She's been in love with a ghost. The man actually in front of her is lazy, manipulative, emotionally stunted, and perfectly content letting her fund his extended adolescence. The realization is crushing, because accepting it means admitting that years of her life were wasted, that her judgment was catastrophically wrong, that everyone who tried to warn her was right. Her ego can't handle it. So even in the face of overwhelming evidence, she holds on. Just a little longer. One more chance. I've invested too much to quit now. Sunk cost fallacy in its purest, most destructive form. Scenario 2. The external crisis. Sometimes the realization doesn't come internally. It's forced by external circumstances. She gets pregnant. Suddenly the stakes are real. Can she bring a child into this dysfunction? Can she trust him to be a father when he can't even be a functional adult? Or she gets sick, needs surgery, experiences a health crisis, and he's nowhere to be found. Not emotionally, not practically. When she needs support, he evaporates. Or her career demands a choice. A promotion that requires relocation. An opportunity that requires focus. And he sabotages it, consciously or unconsciously, because her success threatens the dynamic where she's the capable one and he's the project. The crisis reveals what she's been denying. He cannot and will not show up for her. This relationship is one-directional. She's been playing both roles, her own and his, while he's been playing victim. Scenario 3. The permanent trap. She never leaves. The isolation is complete. Her friends have given up. Her family has stopped asking. She's financially intertwined with him. His name on her lease. His debts she's consolidated. His car she's co-signed. She becomes a cautionary tale. Brilliant woman. Accomplished career. Completely destroyed by a man who contributes nothing and takes everything. Her co-workers whisper. Her subordinates lose respect. Her potential is slowly consumed by the black hole of his dysfunction. And she knows. On some level, she knows. But the neurochemical addiction is stronger than her self-preservation instinct. The father wound is deeper than her logic. The sunk cost is heavier than her future. She stays, and a part of her dies every day. But here's what makes this tragedy even darker, brother. Part of her doesn't want to leave, because leaving would mean facing the void. Who is she without the project of fixing him? What does she do with all that caregiving energy? How does she fill the hole that rescuing him has been filling? The savior complex has become her identity, and killing it would mean killing a part of herself. Let me give you the truth nobody wants to hear. The uncomfortable reality that explains everything and solves nothing. Her attraction to broken men isn't accidental. It isn't bad luck. It isn't poor judgment or low self-esteem or not knowing her worth. It's a biological drive hijacked by modern circumstances and unresolved childhood trauma. The same maternal caregiving instinct that would nurture her children, that evolutionary programming designed to keep infants alive, has been deployed on dysfunctional adult men. And female empowerment hasn't fixed this, it's funded it. Her success gives her the resources to enable his failure. Her emotional intelligence gives her the tools to rationalize his manipulation. Her independence means she doesn't need him for survival, which means she can afford to choose pure dysfunction. Here's the harsh calculus. Successful men don't trigger her savior complex. They don't need saving. A man with his life together, emotionally available, stable, capable. He's boring to her neurochemistry. There's no crisis to solve, no wound to heal, no potential to unlock. The dopamine hit of chaos and rescue outcompetes the steady oxytocin of healthy bonding. She's literally neurochemically addicted to dysfunction. The father wound makes it worse. Every broken man she chooses is an unconscious attempt to resolve the original trauma, to earn love from a man who can't give it. She's trying to fix her father by proxy, and it will never work, because her father wasn't capable of the emotional availability she needed, and neither is this guy. But her brain doesn't care about logic. It cares about the neurochemical reward of trying. In the ancestral environment, this caregiving drive went to children, to injured tribe members, to the community that ensured collective survival. In the modern environment, no children yet, no tribe, isolated nuclear existence, all that energy has to go somewhere, and it goes to broken romantic partners. Maternal instinct with no appropriate outlet finds an inappropriate one. The more capable she becomes, the more resources she has to fund this misdirected drive. Her PhD doesn't protect her. Her executive position doesn't insulate her. Her therapy and self-help books don't rewire her neurochemistry. She can be brilliant in every other area of her life and still destroy herself trying to save a man who doesn't want to be saved. Because this isn't about intelligence. It's about biology meeting trauma in a modern context that has no guardrails. So what's the solution? If you're a woman recognizing this pattern in yourself, or a man trying to understand the high-value woman who won't choose you, what do you do with this information? For her, if she's listening. First, recognize the pattern. This isn't love. This is neurochemical addiction to the rescue. The feeling you interpret as love, that intense bond, that certainty that you're meant to help him, is oxytocin and dopamine. It's the same chemical cocktail you'd get from heroin, just delivered through a different mechanism. Your brain has confused fixing with loving. Second, identify the father wound. This is the hardest part because it means confronting painful truths about your childhood. What validation are you seeking from broken men? What did your father fail to give you that you're trying to earn from every emotionally unavailable man you choose? Until you address that wound, really address it, not just talk about it in therapy, you'll keep repeating the pattern. Third, break the addiction. And it is an addiction, which means you need the same approach any addict needs. Complete abstinence. No contact. Not let's be friends. Not I'll just check in to make sure he's okay. No contact. Because every contact is a hit. Every rescue mission reactivates the reward pathway. For the broken man, if you're honest enough to recognize yourself, you're being enabled, not loved. Her support isn't help. It's preventing your growth. Every time you accept her rescue, you confirm your low value. To her, to yourself, to the universe. She's not your mother. She's not responsible for your healing. And on a deeper level, you know her caretaking is keeping you weak. The comfortable dysfunction is destroying both of you. And you're letting it happen because it's easier than taking responsibility for your own life. For the stable man, watching her choose broken men over you. You can't compete with her neurochemical addiction. The boring stability and healthy love you offer can't match the dopamine spike of crisis and chaos. This isn't about you being not good enough. It's about her addiction to dysfunction. She's not emotionally available for a healthy relationship. Not because she's a bad person, but because she hasn't addressed the underlying wound that makes her seek out brokenness. Don't try to prove you're broken too. Don't manufacture drama to compete. That's not the solution. Recognize that she needs to do her own psychological work before she's capable of choosing health. And that's not your responsibility. You can't save her from her savior complex. The irony should be obvious. For any man seeking a high-value woman, understand this. Female success does not guarantee relationship health. In fact, it often correlates with deeper dysfunction in partner selection. Watch for the pattern in her dating history. If she's consistently chosen broken men, invested in projects, stayed in relationships where she was the sole functional adult, she hasn't resolved the underlying drive. She'll compare you to the potential of broken men, not their reality. You'll be competing with ghosts and fantasies and neurochemical addictions you can't see. That's not a battle you can win with logic or by being a better man. It's a psychological issue she has to address. The final truth. This pattern is biological, not moral. She's not a bad person for being attracted to broken men. The savior complex is hardwired evolutionary programming meeting unresolved trauma. But biology doesn't excuse destruction. The only real solution is conscious awareness and deliberate psychological intervention. Addressing the father wound. Breaking the neurochemical addiction. Rewiring the association between caregiving and romantic love. Most won't do the work. Most will repeat the pattern until external circumstances force a crisis. Some will stay trapped forever. The rare woman who addresses this, who confronts the father wound, breaks the addiction, and rewires her attraction patterns, can build healthy relationships. But she has to want to fix herself more than she wants to fix broken men. And that, brother, is the rarest thing of all. High-value women choosing broken men isn't a mystery. It's biology, trauma, and modern dysfunction creating the perfect storm. Female empowerment won't fix it. Success won't fix it. More therapy talking about boundaries won't fix it. The only thing that fixes it is brutal self-awareness and the willingness to feel the pain of the original wound instead of medicating it with rescue missions. Most won't choose that path, and that's the bitter truth.